afternoon, everyone. Happy Pride Month, and welcome back to the Lennor Pulse live stream. I'm really excited and really looking forward to this celebration this afternoon for this fifth episode of Lennor Pulse. Rainbow Rising, small wins, big wins, love wins. I'm also joined with my amazing co-host, Alvin Peralta.
Yes, thank you so much, Paula, for that. And I'm very excited to be here. And hello, everyone who's joining the
Yes.
session today. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Lenore Pals. Okay, and to everyone watching, we highly suggest that you share the stream to people you know because we'll be having a fun episode to honor the progress we've made, raise awareness for the work that lies ahead, and most importantly, spread a whole lot of love and joy along the way.
Yes, kaya wag na kayong mahiya i-like, yes, i-like and share nyo na ang episode natin for today. Lalo rin nakaka-excite because not only are we thrilled to be doing this in celebration of the community I support, will
Mhm.
also be joined by a good friend of mine. Yes. Good friend na good friend of mine talaga
Yes.
to.
Tama ka dyan, Paula. And ang dami ko na rin narinig about this person. And we are honored to have him with us this afternoon. Since kilala mo na siya, Paula, tell us about our special guest today.
My pleasure. This person is a bright and passionate individual who I used to work with a few years ago. He is a trainer and learning and development practitioner for 7 years and spearheaded diversity, equality, and inclusion initiatives in his former company. He's also a professor of languages at Golden Link College for 14 years and an active resource speaker for research and language development. He is all that and more, everyone. Please welcome my good friend, Siana Medino. Woo!
Ooh.
Fiber.
Good
Introduction.
afternoon, Sia.
Yun, hi,
Hello.
hi, Paula. Grabe sa introduction. Napaka-energetic ninyong dalawa. Such a good introduction to this topic. Because we need
Kami
that
lang
kind
to.
of yeah, and this the same energy I'll be giving to you guys as we go along with our discussion. Yes. Hi
Mhm.
everyone, my name is Ian Lavendino. Just like what Paula mentioned, I'm actually a professor by profession for 14 years. I've been doing that pro bono as part of my social responsibility. And I'm really excited for today's topic because we really need to dig into to know what are the things that we already celebrate, or what are the things that we need to celebrate when it comes to Pride Month.
Alright. But, so Sian, for those na hindi ka pa kilala, maybe you could give a brief background intro about yourself.
Ayan. So, well, just
Like
like
your
what just like
hobbies.
apart siguro from apart from being a professor, I love my personal hobby really is just to read, and that's how I spend most of my time. I also love to travel. It's just that quite recently hindi ako nakakapag-travel. When it comes to my support and alliance with the LGBTQ community, I would have to say, and I would have to give this heads up to you guys, that I'm not really active.
Mhm.
I'm not really in the front line when it comes to LGBTQ causes, but I'm pretty much acquainted with different people with the LGBTQ community. So I'll be coming from a place of my experiences rather than academic discussion or point of views. Although I might be including some highlights when it comes to the
Mhm.
history of the LGBTQ community in the Philippines and in the world in general. But I just wanted to again want to point out that whatever we'll be discussing right now will be coming from my place of experience.
Correct. A
Mhm.
quick disclaimer lang that this discussion is more on about our experience and our insights about the
Yes.
topic itself.
All right. And we glad to have you on the show today, Sian. Okay, let's start. I think we're ready. I'd like to pose the
Correct.
first question, Sian, for you. In order for us to know how far we've come in terms of celebrating Pride Month, can you share with us how Pride celebration came into being?
Right. That's a good question, Alvin. And I think this the right platform for everyone to know, not only the members of the LGBTQ community or LGBTQIA plus community, but for all the allies as well. Pride Month is celebrated every June, and the reason behind it is one major event that happened in the USA. So in June 28, 1969, the Stonewall Inn, which is a safe haven for the LGBTQ community back then, because in 1940s to 1960s, homosexuality is actually criminalized. It is a crime to be gay. It's a crime to be homosexual. So what the mafia did is they created a safe haven, a false safe haven. I would say false safe haven for the LGBTQ community in the U.S. Wherein the members of the LGBTQIA plus community will meet and commune. What they didn't know, it's just actually just a made up place, a safe space. Kasi what the mafia did is that they are actually reporting it to police officers, and that's the reason why
Oh.
there are constant raid that's happening in Stonewall Inn. So what happened was, on June 28, 1969, the LGBTQ community finally decided enough is enough. So that
Correct.
led to the Stonewall Inn uprising. And what is important to know during that event was that the people that really stood up during that time is actually the trans community. So it's really important that we highlight the fact that without trans community, there will be no gay activism that's happening right now. In the Philippines, in the context of the Philippines, malayo na yung narating natin when it comes to celebrating
Mm.
our allyship in the LGBT community, because pre-colonial period pa lang, nag-exist na talaga yung LGBTQIA community in the form of the babaylans. Well, the babaylans are actually female. They're called the priestess in the community, but they do have a male counterpart, which is what we so call the asogs. The asogs are male dressed up as women and
Mm.
performs the ritual that the priestess are doing, that the
Mhm.
babaylans are doing. Now, when the Spaniards came to the Philippines, yung effeminate ways ng mga asogs, they're being questioned because the Spaniards came and brought machismo
Yeah.
in the country. Because as we all know, Spain is ruled by the king, and at the same time, it's also brought the religion in the Philippines. And that's why yung mga lalaki na they behave effeminately, they are looked down upon and kino-question yung pagkalalaki nila. And according nga kay Martin Manansala, the term bakla came into being. At saan nga ba nanggaling sa salitang bakla? Kasi bakla is actually a derogatory term.
Mm.
Because it's a portmanteau of the word babae at lalaki. So pinagsama siya, di ba?
Right.
Bakla. And
It's
it
a
is actually to be
combination.
combination
Uh-huh.
of those two words to question the pagiging effeminate
Mhm.
ng mga kalalakihan. Um, Now in hindi lang natapos dun yung history natin from being questioned. It took some time. Imagine how many years na naging questionable yung pagiging member mo ng LGBTQ. Until 1970s, I would like to highlight as well isa sa mga major gay activist natin sa Philippines, si Justo Justo. He actually created Golden Gaze, if I'm not mistaken, Golden Gaze, to be the safe haven for the elderly LGBTQIA members. However, nung pagkamatay ni Husto Husto nung late 2000, and na-close out yung facilities na yun. And those are some of the main highlights, I guess, when it comes to the history of LGBTQ in the world and at the same time in the Philippines.
Yes, thank you so much, Sian. No, very informative yung sinabi ni Sian
Totoo.
for a kickstart of the topic itself. Ngayon ko lang din nalaman na ayun nga, the term bakla came from a combination of babae and lalaki.
Babae.
So
Mhm.
that's a good information na alam natin ngayon so that we use it very appropriate.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Good to know na the history talaga. We really know, we need to know the history para alam natin yung kung saan tayo humugot. And this
Yes,
Pride
may
Month
hugot
kasi talaga,
talaga,
it's
no?
really a first space,
Mhm.
safe space and ready for rights.
Yes, lalo tuloy ako na-excite sa episode na 'to kasi it's a bit
Totoo.
different from the other episode that we made. And I also want to highlight na I have a question for Alwin and Sian. Bakit hindi niyo sinabi sa'kin na magpi-pink at magsasalamin pala for today's episode? Na-shock naman ako,
Ay,
hindi ako ready.
hindi ba
Hindi
na-inform?
ako na-inform. Please
It's
niyo ba ako sa
news.
group chat? Kaloka kayo.
Okay lang, part
Ayan.
naman ng blue yung sa flag. Ay,
Yes, correct.
Oo, correct, correct.
okay, but to fully immerse ourselves in the celebration of small wins and big wins and love wins this afternoon, lumipad yung team namin. Ay, hindi. Gumawa yung team namin ng short video about celebrating pride and raising rainbows.
Yes, kaya wag natin patagalin pa, everyone. Eyes on the screen. Yes naman, shoutout sa ating marketing team for
Ayan.
creating that amazing video.
What a fun yet informative presentation we have here. Thank you, marketing team, again, for
Yes,
creating this
thank you.
presentation.
And it's a collection of the wins and the progress that we have right now with the Pride community, the LGBTQI plus community. Kita ko nga eh, yung sa Cebu Pack, actually nakita ko na
Yes.
yun sa TikTok ko. Parang they had their first Pride flight.
Flight, yep.
Yes, well, with a collection of their flight attendants, their pilot,
The
co-pilots, and
pilot.
such. Correct. So it's really amazing that big companies, institutions, organizations are creating this kind of way in being more visible and being more engaged in the community itself. Yan. And we've come so far from where we began. Referencing din sa video natin, we had our first Pride Walk in
Mm-hmm.
1994. Back then, yung attendees natin are 50 only. And last year had an estimated of 29,000 attendees for the Pride Walk. So Sian, in what ways have you witnessed positive changes in society's acceptance and inclusion of the LGBTQIA plus
Plus.
community?
Ayan. I know na nakakabulol yung ano, no, yung alphabet na tinatawag.
Kahit
Nakahingal
helpful.
siya.
Because if we're going to expound on that, mas
Uh-huh.
marami pa yan actually na nadagdag dyan. But to answer your question, Paula, apart from those that are those that are mentioned in the video or shown in the video, it's nice to know that there are some things na nangyayari sa community natin right now. For example, some establishments and organizations already started putting up gender-neutral toilet. And it's really important sa mga members ng lalong-lalo sa mga members ng trans community natin, di ba? Kasi for the longest time they've been fighting for to have that kind of comfort, right? And at the
Yeah.
same time, you can also see dun sa video, marami tayong mga representations ng LGBTQ on TV and
Correct.
movies. Like we have BL series, yung defunct na TV show that's sa Channel 7 yung Out. We also have some gay characters taking in the lead. sa US, we have yung post. Watching post really educated me a lot because I must say that there's a lot of things that I need to know. But watching that actually brought out a lot of topics that needs to be discussed when it comes
Mhm.
to trans rights, you LGBTQIA plus rights and all. And recently, no, si Kalad Karen, I'm
Yes,
really happy for Kalad Karen.
correct.
It's a milestone. It's really a milestone for our trans community. Um, and some companies right now they do have are they starting to put up diversity, equity, and inclusion teams to specifically create and cater different LGBTQIA plus
Mhm.
programs for their members, and it's really important. It's because it actually started in the US and now everyone in the Philippines is considering to put up their own DEI
Mhm.
programs. We also have trans representation in major beauty pageants like the Miss Universe. Diba? If you remember si Miss Spain before, lumaban
Mhm.
siya. So that's a major achievement. And at the same time, in the Philippines, sa
Mm.
educational system natin, we have the gender responsive education na it's really important lalong-lalo na sa mga lalo na sa mga batang nag-aaral sa school kasi they're
Yes.
subjected to bullying simply because of their gender
Mhm.
orientation or their or based on their gender identity. So yeah, I think that's something that we can probably cover or discuss as we go along with our discussion.
Mm.
Correct.
Thanks for that, Sian. No? It's a good thing, no, as per mentioned ni Sian, some positives that we have right now, yung mga gender neutral comfort room, the BL
Mhm.
series that I really love to watch. And then
Drag Race,
another
RuPaul, 'di
milestone
ba?
for trans, drag race, and beauty
Correct.
queens. We saw
Mhm.
that we are really progressing, no?
Mhm.
Okay. And then,
Correct,
aside
correct.
from part of the community, Sian, there are people like, families, mga kaibigan natin, neighbors, who support the community. We call them as an ally. So, what
Mm-mm.
does it mean to be an ally?
Right. That's a good question. Kasi marami nagkasabi na, oy, alay ako, naiintindihan ko
Oo.
kayo, hindi ko kayo
Mhm.
dinidiscriminate, huwag niyo akong i-cancel. First thing first,
Mm-mm.
let's define what is allyship. According to Cornel Woodson, who is a diversity and inclusion labor relations in the US, he defined allyship as an active and consistent practice of deconstructing and challenging one's beliefs and actions in which a person seeks to work in solidarity and with marginalized individuals or a group of in the community. Now, what are the two things that are important here, Alvin and Paula? One is the word active, right? Hindi mo
Mhm.
pwedeng sabihin na, na ally ka if you're only supporting one person, nakakilala mo, right? If
Yeah,
you're only
correct.
supporting one member of the community, for example, may kaibigan ka na bakla or gay, you only support gay, but you don't support the trans community. You only have a friend that's lesbian, you only identify as an ally to the lesbian. So when you say active, meaning you have to perform religiously your allyship across any member of the community. And what is also
Mhm.
important is the term consistent practice. Because when you say consistent practice, meaning hindi ka selective. Um, and at the same time, if you see that there are injustices that is happening towards the LGBTQIA plus members, then you have to speak up to that. And at the same time,
Mhm.
challenge the belief not only of yourself, but of other people as well. Challenging does not necessarily mean na makikipagdebate ka, makikipag-away. And I think that's the wrong notion when we talk
Yeah.
about fighting for rights, di ba? Ang automatic na pumapasok, aktivista, o
Mm.
Mhm.
pag-away, nakikipagtay. It's not about that. And how do you show allyship? You have to educate yourself because you cannot talk about something that you do not know, right?
Correct.
Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin
Totoo.
na, kaibigan ko yan kasi personal ko siya kanina. Hindi. But what are the things about the person, about the community that you are supporting? So education is really important. In this platform, Alvin and Paula, Lenore, I really appreciate this platform because it's giving
Mhm.
an opportunity for people to understand and know what the LGBTQIA plus is all about.
Correct. And it's really amazing that aside from the point taken by Sian, yung mga ari ngayon, they're really educating themselves talaga.
Mhm.
Na kailangan
Kahit
yung
unti-unti,
sabihin
'no?
ko, yes, kailangan yung sabihin ko back it up with facts, not because I'm a friend of this person and automatically I'm an ally of the LGBTQ. So it this platform also want to encourage people who wants to know more about being an ally in community to always research the background about the
Mm-hmm.
community and
Yes.
the advocacies that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Sabi nga ni
True.
Sian, consistent practice.
Correct.
Correct. Correct.
Mm-mm. Yes. So, ugaliin natin yung ugali ni Sia. Lagi siya nagbabasa. Sabi niya kanina. Ayan. And also, based on the video din, di ba? Parang, right now, yun nga, based dun sa question din ni Alvin kanina, there are a lot of people who
Mm-hmm.
are supporting the community nga. Especially yun nga sa family. I would like to share lang din kasi way back, I have a cousin who went to a Pride Walk. In Marikina pa yun, wala pa tayo sa
Mm-mm.
COVID era. So parang what happened nun is first time niya kasing umattend. So sobrang kabado siya and sinama niya kami ng cousin ko na isa. Kasi wala nga siyang kakilala sa community.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi it's her first time to go out sa parents niya, sa amin na
Mm-mm.
family niya. Tapos sobrang sobrang nahihiya talaga siya. So hindi talaga siya nakipag-usap. Tapos parang
Mm-mm.
in-encourage namin siya na iwan ka muna namin. Kasi kapag kasama mo kami, syempre komportable ka sa amin. Kami
Oo.
lang yung sasamahan mo all throughout the
Mm-mm.
Pride event. Hindi ka na makikipaghalubilo
Mm-mm.
sa ibang tao, correct? So, parang iniwan talaga namin siya literal. Kumain kami sa McDo. Ayun, tapos parang binalikan na namin siya. Pagbalik namin, ang dami niya ng kausap. And
Mm-hmm.
she is really engaged na into talking the similarities, especially yung mga na-experience na nila, ganyan. Na with us, nung isa kong cousin, na hindi namin fully nagigets. Parang sila lang yung
Mm-mm.
nakakagets. So it's really a great opportunity for my LGBTQ plus cousin na ma-engage sa community itself. It's parang
Yeah.
an eye-opener daw talaga sa kanya.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
So,
Correct. And I think, Paula, yun yung reason kung bakit may Pride Parade, no? Kasi Pride Parade,
yes.
the aim of the Pride Parade really is to unite. To unite. Na ano,
Mm-mm.
kasi ang common notion kapag Pride Parade is, ay, kailangan maganda suot ko or dapat, ano, yung
Oo. Instagrammable.
Mm-hmm.
media. You're there because you wanted to be part of the community. You have to
Yes.
unite with the community and make new friends. Yeah, because there's a lot of things. Hindi lang naman actually outside ng mga issues nangyayari, but within the community as well, there are a lot of issues that needs to be targeted. So it's really important that when you join the Pride Parade, the reason why you're joining that is simply because you wanted to unite and share the same deal and then share the same cause as the other members of the community. Well done, Paula. I appreciate that.
Ayun. Correct. Yeah, so parang yung cousin ko, very excited na siya in the upcoming Pride Walk. And in the future, very na siya, very active na siya. Ang dami niya ng friends. Ayan.
Mm.
So, kaya nga na sinabi ni Sian, it's more on the engagement and the conversation you had during those kind of events. So, going back, Sian, no, you mentioned earlier, we touched more about the youth in terms of
Mm.
this community. Kasi parang they are the people na mas subject into bullying, discrimination, and such, di ba? So, right now, since we mentioned then na more families are accepting the community
Mm.
itself,
Mm.
specifically, yun nga, the youth. What can you say about it?
Mm. Now, when it comes to acceptance, lalong-lalo na sa family
Mm-hmm.
for the LGBTQIA, I see two factors. Again, I'm speaking about my personal experience.
Yeah.
There are two factors. I believe the reason why acceptance is really growing nowadays. One is because there are growing representations across all media, right? So there are a lot of people that we're seeing na posible pala na may anak ka na lalaki, pinanganak, tas magka-transition siya ng babae kasi yun ang nararamdaman niya. That's the identity
Mm-hmm.
that she identified herself with. So that growing representation is really important. And one, by nature talaga, tayo mga Filipino, we are close family ties. Ako,
Yeah.
I'll share this, and I never discuss this with a lot of people, but it's a personal story. Because in my case, paniniwala kasi ng iba, dapat may coming out story ka sa family mo na i-invite mo sa restaurant, kasama yung buong family, tapos bakla po
Oo.
ako.
May
But
scenario,
again,
no?
Oo.
the combination ng Alwin tsaka Paula,
Teleserye yarn.
kailangan iiyak ka, tapos
Oo.
hawakan mo yung kamay ng nanay mo,
Mm.
Sorry,
hanapin
ma!
ka.
Ma.
Ganon.
Sabi ko, pangako ko, hindi ko matutupad yung mga ganun.
Oo.
But that is not the case with me. And I guess my situation is really different because for me,
Mhm.
the way of me coming out to my parents that I just live the way that I live my life, and at the same time I showed them that I'm more than just being a member of the LGBTQIA plus
Yeah.
community. I can do this, I can do that, I can sing, I can talk, I can dance, I can do this. It's not to prove my worth, but it's more of like to show them that I do have a personality, and you have to look outside me being an LGBTQIA member.
Correct.
So it's important na we talk about yung mga ganong topic within the community, within the families, kasi I noticed kasi quite recently na nangyayari is marami mga tao na parang they're trying to force to out a person.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, ito ano ba talaga, Fred, bakla ka ba talaga? Or yung bagong hire, mukhang bakla yun kasi magaling manamit or something like that." So those kind of story. Let's be more understanding. Let's be more sensitive about other people. Again, different folks, different strokes, different stories. So yeah, and I think it's really important that we have open discussion, communication, and see the one of the major reasons why I guess acceptance is really growing in their community right now because we are inherently accepting.
Yes, correct. Gusto ko yung sinabi mo kanina that, yung representation with the media gave a big impact in the
Mhm.
community. Kasi, yung mga we became more open-minded in terms
Mm-mm.
of talking about it, 'di ba? Before, the
Correct.
character is a girl and a boy. That's it.
Mm-mm.
Wala na
Mm-mm.
siyang extra gender in the characters. But
Mm-mm.
right now, I think it's a big win for us that a big
Mm-mm.
representation na change in the media.
Mhm.
Marami na
Mm-mm.
tayo, as yun nga, minasyabi ko ang dami na tayong BS series. And then kapag napapanood sila na napapanood ng mga tao, somehow nagiging, oh, normal na siya. 'Di ba?
Mm-mm.
Hindi na siya titignan in a negative standpoint.
Mhm.
Correct,
Wherein
correct.
it's included already.
Big factor kasi
Right.
talaga yung
And one
media.
more thing. Oh, sorry. One more thing, Alvin and Paula. When we talk about representation
Hmm.
of the LGBTQIA plus in the media, we also have to consider yung stereotyping. Because for the
Yeah.
Mm.
longest time kasi when we talk about gays and LGBTQIA plus represented in media, meron kayong baklang mataray, right? There's
Ah,
always the baklang mataray. There's always the tombong astig. There's always the guy who's dressing up, cross dressing tapos
Cross-dress, yes.
binabato-batukan. Right now we do have yung mga bisexual na, sorry for the term, malalandi na
mm.
as represented in the media na changing partners and all. I think what the media should present right now are positive role models.
Correct.
We should have more positive representation in the media for the LGBTQI para hindi mas stereotype, kasi bakla yan kaya ganito yan or
Mm.
whatnot. So yeah, I like what you mentioned there.
Mhm.
Representation is important, but at the same time, it should be positive
Positive
representation.
'yun, tama. Kasi
Correct.
malawak talaga yung range ng media.
Mm-mm.
Correct. Mm. And 'di ba, we are since yun nga, we have a media of, representation and all, siyempre affected na rin tayo sa mga youth natin right now with the community kasi yung napapanood nila, yung nakikita nila and
Mm-mm.
such. That's why parang, as you mentioned nga, Sian, it would be a great step for the community to have a more positive image in terms of the media presentation. So the next
Mm-mm.
question is, trans youth rights are another big aspect of the community and inclusivity. In your opinion, what is it crucial to prioritize and protect the rights of transgender youth?
Right. I'll start with yung na-mention ko kanina, Paula, yung sa basic education policy sa DepEd or Order
Mhm.
Number 32 of 2017, or also called as the Gender Responsive Basic Education Policy. So, ano to yung policy na to? The policy dictates or seeks to enable the DepEd to undertake gender mainstreaming in education to address any issues related to gender, to gender. For example, gender-related violence, abuse, exploitation, bullying inside the classroom, promote gender equality and non-discrimination both in educational system and in the workplace. Classic example nito siguro yung if a student feels like dressing the way that the student feels how he or she identifies himself, right? That's important kasi for the longest time, Paul and Alvin, lumaki
Yes.
tayo sa ano, kapag all boys dapat boys
Mm.
na uniform, right? Kapag all girls ka, dapat naka-girl uniform
Yes,
ka. And I think
right.
at this point in time, I'm not sure kung FEU ba yun, Alvin and Paula, na they allow their students to dress based on how they
Mm-hmm.
identify themselves. And I think that's one way on how we can practice itong sinasabi natin na DepEd policy na to. Yeah, because as we all know, in the US kasi it's a growing issue, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Maraming um, mga youth na na I would have to say na nagpapakamatay simply because they weren't able to practice how they want to live their true self, their true identity. And sa US din meron mga issue regarding sa mga pag-hold ng mga sa transitioning ng mga trans youth. I'm not very certain if it's a growing case in the Philippines right now. But one thing for sure, yung policy ng DepEd na to, it's really important, lalong-lalo sa mga batang
Yeah.
nabubuhay because of their
Mm-mm.
gender identity.
Correct. And it's really amazing that this policy was created. Kasi yun nga, they provide freedom to the youth to
Mhm.
express themselves. And I think
Mm,
marami ng schools right now yung gumagawa nito. Being more
Mhm.
mm,
open in terms of what they wear.
Mhm.
mm,
Tama. Kasi sa youth kasi lalabas yung full potentials that we have. So if we
Mm-hmm.
practice yung protection, no, bullying talaga yung mag-grow dun sa
mm,
school or yeah, sa institution. Right?
mm,
Okay. So let's go to the next question. We have certain rights, CN, that have posed a society today. And another
mm,
right that is really big talk in the community is the Soji Bill. Okay, but Soji Bill was first filed in 2016 and it has gone through a lot. And right now, it still needs to go through several procedures before being enacted into law. What are your thoughts on this, Ian, on the importance and potential impact of the Soji
mm.
Equality
Right.
Bill?
Thank you, Alvin. To start with, I'm not very adept with the Soji Equality Bill, no. But one thing for sure, when I read through the Soji Equality Bill or Senate Bill 689, common misconception kasi ng mga tao na when we talk about SEB or Social Equality Bill is may human rights naman na hindi na kailangan yan. Sakop na yan, babae, lalaki, or regardless of your gender, meron na tayo yan. Actually, there are two things in the Social Equality Bill that's very important, which is Section 5. Section 5, that's one, it highlights or defines discriminatory practices that are often overlooked in the society. Classic example niya, yung sinabi ko kanina, yung pag-out ng tao, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, then you can be fined for doing that. Another example is yung unequal treatment on the basis of SOGI. Yung hindi ka ma-hired simply because or hindi ka magka-qualify for a specific job or position simply because of your SOGI. Expelling a person in educational institution simply because nagko-cross-dress ka. Refusal or revoking of accreditation on the basis of SOGI as well. So those are some of the discriminatory practices that are highlighted on Section 5. Now, Section 7 is equally important. Why? Because in Section 7, it outlines yung corresponding penalties for those violations. So, itong na-mention natin kanina, hindi naman siya na-experience ng straight woman. Wala naman magkasabi sa, o diba, babae ka, diba? Or lalaki ka, diba? But with our community, outing a person is a common, actually, it's a microaggression na tinatawag, na pipilitin kang umamin about, and not everyone is okay with outing themselves in
Yeah.
the public.
Mm-mm.
It takes some time, di ba? So it's really important that we push for Senate Bill 689 because it's a protection. And one thing
Yeah.
that I also wanted to point out, Paula and Alvin, is that let's, as much as possible, let's look at it in equity, in the lens of equity. Kasi hindi naman talaga pagkakapantay-pantay, but more of like yung opportunity na angkop para sa'yo,
Mm-hmm.
di ba?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
what, that is what the LGBTQIA+ community is fighting for. Yung karapatan na angkop para sa kanila or para sa amin.
Yes, correct. Ayun nga, parang there's a specific laws talaga na angkop lang talaga with the part of the community. Like for example, ayun nga,
Mhm.
yung pag-out ng other person sa
Mm-mm.
part ng community, correct. Kapag babae ka naman, hindi mo naman kailangan mag-out sa babae ka, eh, 'di ba? But
Totoo.
with this kind of right, with the Soji bill, it highlights the things, the conflict. Kasi nga may
Mhm.
ganito, may mga gumagawa nga nito, and ayaw nga namin mangyari to. That's why
Mm-mm.
that is one part of the bill.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Thanks for the informative details, Sian. And we really hope we do hope all aspects should check.
Mm-mm.
Alright. But let's go to the other dimension, Sian. Today, more and more companies are being, inclusive towards LGBTQIA plus individuals and someone in people and culture. How do you feel about companies that are really that are truly supportive and those that use pride and inclusivity as part of their PR?
Ayan, napaka-common nito ngayon tinatawag natin na fake allyship or what we so-called optical allyship, 'di ba? Na they are showing their allyship. For example, they will be displaying LGBTQIA+ na flag or yung pride flag sa mga offices nila for
Yeah.
just to show that they're an ally, or sometimes they will be using LGBTQ icons or whatever as form of promotion for their company. And I think what again we'll go back to the definition of what allyship is, diba? It is important that as an ally you are consistent with what you're doing to show
Mhm.
your support to the community, and at the same time you do not just show but you also lead discussions about privileges, power, oppression, meritocracy in the organization. For example, you create program like this yung ginagawa ng Lennor. What you're doing right now is really, really commendable because you're giving a platform for people like me, for who's a member of the LGBTQIA plus community, to talk about specific topics that everyone should know. Para lahat ng members of the organization will have an understanding of kung ano yung pinagdadaanan ng mga LGBTQIA members. And lastly, it's also important that the organization establish their own DEI
Mhm.
programs or DEI team, for example, because DEI when you have a DEI team. Then you and usually led by a member of the LGBTQIA plus community, then it's easier for them to create programs because they understand where the members are
Correct.
coming from. So yeah,
Mhm.
I think yeah that's my insight regarding that.
That's a great point, no, Sian. But I would like to add lang some of my thoughts. Kasi employer should be an equal opportunity employer para masabi nating ally tayo. So it needs to be authentic. And
Yeah.
magsa-start talaga siya
Mm,
from within, meaning internally, I'm from HR, and then handling recruitment, from
Yeah.
searching for people from diverse background and really support them to achieve long-term success. Like for example, we welcome the applications from everyone regardless of age,
Mhm.
gender identity, or sexual orientation, para we can really create an inclusive culture.
Yes, I really want to commend then the companies na they really put an effort to celebrate the Pride Month and celebrate the community. Not only because they need to put it in their social media, but because they really care about the community. So
Mhm.
for those companies, great job. And please continue to do so. And by building allies kasi implementing inclusive policies and embracing the community's visibility, we can create workplaces that celebrate diversity and empower individuals to reach their full potential. I'm not saying this to be exclusive lang with the LGBT community. Lahat
mm,
ng possible diversity and inclusion na pwede mangyari, it can create a more safe workplace for everyone.
mm,
So looking ahead, Sian, yes.
mm.
What hopes and aspirations do you have for the future of LGBTQI plus rights and visibility? How do you envision a more inclusive world?
Ayan. So I would love to mention here, Paula, yung sinabi ni Chancellor Michael Tan from UP Diliman, because I've listened to his lecture sa
Mm.
Dikhaan that was held at Novotel. And there are some points that he actually raised that it's really important and relevant. One, your accessibility to information. I'll give you an example, the one that he provided, that Sha provided, because um, Chancellor Tan identifies himself, would prefer to be called Sha or sila. Sha
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
mentioned that in the Philippines, yung trans community, specifically to the trans community, um, the, the only way for them, or the access for them to transitioning is yung mag-take ng pills. And taking pills ng walang consultation na required, ng walang information na binibigay sa'yo, is like risking yourself. And taking
Yeah.
pills, according to him, it's just is a matter of um, the chances is not really that high, simply because you're basically self-medicating yourself, right? So we
Mhm.
don't have that we don't have that access to that information right now, and that's what he highlighted. It's really important we have an access to that kind of information, lalo sa mga members na they're planning to transition. Pangalawa, just like what we also highlighted kanina, let's create more platforms to encourage discussions about and education about LGBTQIA+. Some companies already started their own DEI departments within their organizations to address issues like microaggressions, have more empathy and understanding towards
Yeah.
the alphabet soup na tinatawag na continuously growing. Address issues like homophobia, transphobia, both in the workplace. It's also important that we grow sensitivity and empathy towards other people. Because right now, just like what we said kanina, na there are some issues not only happening outside the community but
Yeah.
inside the community as well. So kailangan within the community dapat tayo nagkakaintindihan.
Yeah.
um, and I'll give you a classic example ng mga issues na nangyayari na dapat iwasan siguro ng community. For example, yung bottom shaming na tinatawag, or trans shaming na tinatawag, or yung members of the community feels that they are being what do they call that? They are not welcome within the
Mhm,
community. So
mhm.
those kind of issues has to be addressed para masabi that we are really a close tight community. We also have to grow our awareness regarding sexual diversity, to look at sexual diversity not as perversion. Kasi when we talk about sexual diversity right now, iisipin agad ng mga tao, ay, perverted yung tao na yun kasi he's practicing
Mhm.
this and practicing that. So that kind of mindset has to change. And and at the same time, yung mga microaggressions,
Yeah.
we have to make information about LGBT. We have to make sure that all the information is accessible to all people para
Yeah.
alam natin how we're going to address people specifically. In the workplace, for example, there are things that we need to highlight. For example, sa mga trans community natin, it's important that we know how to call them by their pronouns. And
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
even the other members of the community, di ba? It's important we call them by their pronouns. We also need to take in consideration sa workplace yung reporting mechanism. In the event that you have a member of the LGBTQIA that's experiencing untoward incidents within the workplace, there should be some sort of reporting mechanism. And I guess lastly, inclusive health benefits, but that will be a very, very long discussion because at this time, pinag-aaralan pa rin natin yung yung social
Mhm.
equality bill. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm just really hopeful na looking forward, everyone will be more open for
Yep.
discussion and not debate. We should look on things in a more receptive rather than reactive.
Yes. Correct. Kasi kapag sinabi nila na parang fight for your right, literal na fight yung ginagawa ng iba, 'di ba? It's more on it's more on an intellectual discussion, and I like what Ian said. If the information everyone got access to it, it would be very fruitful
Mhm.
for the community and also for those outside the community to be well informed what's happening inside the community so that they can help and better support that community.
Yeah, correct,
Yes.
correct.
So thank you so much, Ian, for of course sharing your amazing insights. Sabi ko na nga ba eh, kaya paborito kitang host
All right.
since way back. Insights about this topic and of course taking us on your mind on what you know more about LGBT community and
Yes.
being sharing a lot of insights about it.
Mhm. Gusto ko lang din i-highlight yung na-mention ni Sian kanina na we have this kind of event because we are fighting for rights na angkop sa community. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And then thank you again, Sian, for another super duper and wonderful talk today. Indeed, we see changes for the community and we're looking forward for more upcoming wins. And if you have any further questions or would like to connect with Sian, feel free to reach out him on social media. And Sian, please let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, yeah. Which one? Which one? The legit one or the not legit one? All right, yeah. For speakership, guys, or if you wanted to reach out, collaborate, ask questions, I'm free
Yeah.
to those opportunities. You can check my Facebook at. You can check my Facebook. My name in Facebook is KY Lavendino. Or you can also check my LinkedIn page. That's Christian Eve Marco Lavendino. Just message me anytime, and I'm available at your most convenient time. Thank you so much, Alvin and Paula, for this opportunity. Thank you, Lenore, for this opportunity. Really appreciated it.
Yes. Feeling ko marami pa tayong pagdadaanan na episode. So, Sian, baka see you next time ulit, no? Yeah.
Looking
But
forward
yeah,
to that.
correct. And yeah, everything that we've talked about today is a culmination of the progress that the LGBTQI plus community and its allies have made in the fight for their own rights. The stories we've talked about, big or small, are all wins in our eyes, and we shouldn't shield ourselves away from celebrating what we have already accomplished. As we end this episode and Pride Month, ika nga, malayo pa pero
Malayo na.
siyan ulit. Hinay
Isa pa,
mo.
isa pa, isa pa, isa pa.
Ikaw pala ako dun. Sorry, sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
As we end this episode and Pride Month, ika nga, malayo pa pero
Malapit
Malayo.
na.
yes, guys, malayo pa pero malayo na. So, thank you so much everyone for watching and happy Pride Month. See you on the next one.
Pride Month,
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
everyone.